Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the After the Frame podcast. My name is Malik, and I am joined, as always, by...
Hi, I'm Matt.
And today we will be reviewing Bugonia. Matt, you have told me that this movie is pretty high up for you. You really enjoyed it. So what did you think going into it? Did you think you're going to enjoy it so much, or did it just really exceed your expectations?
Going in, I had pretty moderate to high expectations for this one. Director, Yorgos, I'm going to butcher his name, Yorgos Lanthimos, however you say it,
John
has,
Economos, yes.
yeah, that. He's made a lot of films that I've been a fan of, between The Lobster, The Favorite, Poor Things. I can go on and on. And when I saw he was working with Emma Stone, again, who he did with Poor Things, I was like, I'm going to see this, especially with it leaning kind of more sci-fi and, having Jesse Plemons in it. I'm like, I'm sold. I will go watch it. And I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay. I didn't have any expectations going into it. We kind of discussed off camera already that we differ a little bit. The movie is far from a bad movie. Very well made movie, very well acted. I'll get into my one gripe with the movie that literally was such a gripe that it like knocked it down so far for me was just the ending. And I'll explain my reasoning as to why. And I've talked to a bunch of people who have also seen it, so I'm interested to get your thoughts on it because the majority of people that I've talked to like on social media, like after I like posted my review or whatever, that they said that they felt the same way about the ending. So I'm interested to hear what your take is since you seem to have enjoyed it. But yeah, we'll get into the positives first if you don't have anything else to say for the preamble.
But yeah, we can dive in to what worked.
All right. So hit me with your first one. What was the first thing for you?
So my first one, kind of noting back to what I touched on early on, is the director, Yorgos Economos, and Emma Stone. They proved to still be an elite combination. With this film, even if it's not their best collaboration, the creative chemistry that they have between director and lead is undeniable. And the directorial, just signature oddball tension and Stone's controlled, layered performance, they just continue to elevate everything they touch. And I felt you just kind of feel this artistic confidence behind every scene that, involved the two. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a ton to say with the director per se. I think the film is like a well-directed film. As I said, my one gripe is literally the ending. But my first thing I have to mention is just literally the sheer fact that the acting was excellent. Some of the best acting I've seen in a film this year, honestly. I thought that Emma Stone was really good, but I think as a standout, Jesse Plemons took the cake for me in this movie. He plays this guy that you just feel is, I mean, like he's just so odd, or, we come to find out he was right, but he plays it in such an odd way, but he has so much conviction and he's telling his friend, who's also excellent as well. I forget the actor's name. I found out he's actually also on the spectrum, but I thought he was just literally acting, but he is on the spectrum, but he still plays a fantastic role. And what I like about this movie is that it's very intimate. It's literally the majority of the movie is set in, one or two locations, maybe, there's more locations in flashbacks, but the majority of it is set within a house, within a basement, stuff of that nature. And it's just basically these three acting, which I think makes the movie's acting just shine even more. The monologues that Jesse has, so many like monologues in this movie, so much dialogue, and he delivers everything so well. I think that he deserves to get acting nomination this year for this role. I can't stop saying good things about the acting at least, and then the commitment for Emma Stone to shave her head too. That's something to say as well. But yeah, as far as the acting goes, I mean, they have like side characters here and there, but the main cast, those three, excellent stuff. What did you think?
yeah, I mean, touching on that point, just overall fantastic performances across the board. The cast just commits fully to this tone. It's unsettling but bleakly funny, and it's really sharply emotional. And yeah, Emma Stone delivers again with a performance that just mixes scales of vulnerability but also this iciness too. And as you touched on with Jesse Plemons and the other supporting, I mean, they all stand out too. They just add these bits of texture and just unpredictability to the overall world.
Yeah. My next positive has to be the look of the film. I think that this film was so uniquely crafted, the way it was shot And as I said, for it literally just being in like one or two locations, it looked really good, still had its uniqueness to it. The director definitely put his stamp on the film and made it look like it was one of his films. So, I mean, like, yeah, you brought up the menu. I really enjoyed that as well. It has like a similar type, I'd say, of cinematography. This one seemed like a little bit more like grainy slash old timey. But both showcase like the great cinematography and the great eye that this director seems to have up until that ending scene where the foolishness starts to come in, where I was like, yeah, but even that was still pretty well done from like a CGI slash practical effects standpoint. So what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, you stole one of my other bullets. I was going to touch on, this directorial style. I mean, he's got this deadpan absurdity, this strange humor. The tone is unsettling, but it's all executed at a high level. And the world just felt meticulously crafted with this unique rhythm that only this guy can deliver in his films. And the style alone just makes it stand out from most of the other releases I think we've gotten this year. And I think diving into the story, I mean, it's intense and engaging. I mean, from the opening act, the film hooked me with its, dark humor, sharp tension, offbeat storytelling. I mean, the narrative is gripping, even when it flirts with excess and going over the top. But it's never boring. It's never flat, and the film keeps the pacing tight enough that the film always just feels alive.
Okay. I disagree in some aspects of that, but I'll leave that for when we get to the negatives. But that's basically the big positives I have. I think that the plot was really interesting up until the end. Once again, my big thing that I keep talking about. Really liked what they were like what they seemed like they were setting up. And then I'll explain again like why I feel like just the way that the ending played out really just, I can't even say disappointed me, but just kind of like just, I don't know, like it just made me very angry with just how it finished off, because I felt like it could have gone in such a better direction. But yeah, the way that the plot is set up, how it calls back to real life, how people are both on Jesse Plemons' side and on Emma Stone's side, I thought was really, clever, a very clever way of doing things. I really enjoyed with the fact that like you really didn't know to root for, because Jesse Plemons is a kidnapper and is holding somebody hostage, and then Emma Stone in her own right clearly is this out of touch rich person who doesn't seem to care about the people who consume her product. So it's kind of like like both parties are doing wrong. They have their reasons for it. So I like that aspect. It was like, the dichotomy of the two. So yeah, do you have anything else to touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, my last overall pro is just touching on like the overall dark entertainment value. I mean, despite the heavy and bizarre themes, especially in the dynamic between the two leads, it was genuinely entertaining to me. I mean, it's the kind of dark, twisted fun that this director's he excels at. And even when the film is uncomfortable, it's gripping in a way that just kept me leaning forward and just invested.
Okay. All right. Well, we can get into the negatives then. I'll let you go first because I don't know if you're gonna have. Well, I don't have a lot. I only have one, but it's a big one for me. So I'll let you go first though.
I have more than you, but I feel like you can probably kind of roll all these into a ball. So the first thing for me, some of the ideas in the film do kind of feel overcooked at times. I mean, the movie occasionally leans too hard into its themes, over explaining or overindulging in its own cleverness. And some ideas are hammered a bit too loudly rather than explored subtly. It is ambitious, but it's sometimes too aware of its own ambition. Secondly, for me, I had notated a predictable direction in the final stretch. Instead of throwing unexpected twists, that something this director usually thrives on, the film kind of pointed toward its conclusion a little too clearly, and you do feel where it's going long before it gets there, which does soften the impact, at least in my opinion. And there were a few missed opportunities for the kind of narrative chaos that could have elevated it. And then this last point for me, it is not by any means a bad film, but it's just not quite as sharp as his best works, in my opinion. Even though it's strong, it just doesn't hit the dizzying highs of, The Favorite, Poor Things, or The Killing of a Sacred Deer. The ideas don't always gel as tightly, and the thematic punch just isn't as clean or surprising. But that's all I had for my negatives. You can reveal the big atom bomb.
Yeah, I don't want to overplay it. Like, I agree with you. I think that this movie was very good. My whole thing, I think that you and I talked about it like a little bit when like I saw the movie, and then I think you actually ended up seeing it after me, and we discussed a little bit. I just felt as though this movie for me was good, could have been excellent. Not even just great. It could have bumped up like a few notches for me and been in my top 5, top 10. But the direction that they decided to go with, and to me, the ending is a very big part of the movie. It's like how they say in show business, like, yeah, it's like depending on what you leave the audience with. And as me as an audience member, the ending. So for those, I assume that if you're watching this, you've seen the movie. But the premise of the movie is that Jesse Plemons and his friend are conspiracy theorists who think that Emma Stone's character, who's like the CEO of a company, is an alien. And what I did like about the movie, as I mentioned before in the first half of the video, is that it was playing on this dynamic of this person who was affected by Emma Stone's company through his mother and everything like that, so you could at least sympathize with him. Obviously, he's doing very wrong things, kidnapping people. We're not endorsing that, but from the context of the narration of the movie, you're understanding where he's coming from. And then Emma Stone's character is basically fighting back with his ideology, saying how he basically just has his own echo chamber, which I thought was pretty interesting. When you read a lot of things online, a lot of things online are now just echo chambers. It's just people with confirmation bias and everything. So I thought it was very poignant, and I thought that wow, this is like a pretty cool dynamic that these two have going on. Come to find out that Emma Stone is actually a fucking alien. And to me, it just undoes everything that I thought was so cool about their dynamic within the plot going into the final act. The fact that they were debating back and forth about, who's more wrong or who's more dangerous, the comparison towards, the bees and everything like that. It was, to me, such a cool and creative way. And for Emma Stone to actually be a fucking alien, and for Jesse Plemons to be right, and him kidnapping a person, kidnapping multiple people, which is glossed over in the end. You see, like, in his room, he's done this to multiple people. For it to actually be real, I think I can't say sending the wrong message, but it kind of just like throws off the message that I had thought the movie was going for. So to me, because of the way that it ended, it just threw off everything for me, because I was thinking one thing. They basically were like, oh no, but it is exactly what he said. So I'm like, okay, so then what happened in this movie then? What am I supposed to take from this movie that you're saying this person's an alien, I think that they had the opportunity, like you said, they could have swerved a little bit. The cop could have been an alien, actually. The friend could have been an alien. They could have done something different if they must have an alien in it. But the sheer fact that Emma Stone's was just an alien, it just really didn't work for me, to the point where, like, there's certain points in movies where I'm really upset and I just say fuck off. And that when I saw her go up to her spaceship and the whole thing with the hair or whatever, I just said fuck off in the movie theater. I was so pissed, which is why I'll genuinely say this movie is a good movie, and I think that I'm rating this movie based off of a lot of my emotion, as you can tell by the way I'm talking. But it really upset me, this ending. So just take that with a grain of salt of how I'm going to be rating this movie. But that's my big issue with the ending. What did you think of the ending?
Yeah, I mean, so I might be outside of the norm when I say this, but I am kind of in the middle. I get what you're saying. I see both sides come to it, because it seems like a large portion of the split sees it, as either just this bleak commentary on humanity or just this surprisingly hopeful ending about how nature can heal. I do see the side how some interpret it as this critique of modern society, this greed, this corporate power, her being an alien. And the film shows the destruction caused by these issues and really just the potential for a new beginning without humanity coming from the alien. But I also see the side where others can find hope in it, thinking that believing in it suggests that nature can recover and just flourish after humanity's self-inflicted downfall, or just giving Earth the chance to restart. So I'm kind of in the middle camp. I mean, as I said, I did think it was predictable going towards the end, but not in like a driving off the cliff bad way for me.
Okay. I mean, that's all I have to say about that's my piece on this movie. Honestly, like, I don't really have much more to say. I do have a lot more good things, but the one bad thing for me, as I said, I go to a movie to enjoy myself, and when I feel such a negative emotion when I leave the film, it's just gonna affect how I view it. So those are my 2 cents.
Cool.
So anything else you wanted to say before we get into the ratings then?
No, we can dive into scores and just final verdicts. I am curious how, like, I do wonder what your number is going to be. Do you know what it would have been? Did you have a number in mind before the ending
I
played out?
did. It was high eights for me.
Okay.
It would have been
And now it is.
probably it would have been probably like an 88%, 89%, something like that. Oh, another thing I didn't touch on as well. I did feel like there were times in the movie where it dragged a bit for me, where I felt like a little bit like I'm like checking my watch a bit. Didn't happen often, but it's not the most, to me personally, it wasn't the most entertaining movie where you're just like, oh man, like what. It's engaging in the thought, but like what's happening on screen sometimes is not always most engaging. But now it has bumped down to a whopping 70% flat.
Oof.
When a movie pisses me off, I can't give it too high. Everything else around it, I really liked. It really could have done something. Didn't. Not for me, at least.
But you said it could have been like an 88%?
Could have been. What could have been? Like, literally, I was like, wow, this movie is something. And then, literally, at the end there, I was like, well, you've just undone everything. Now I have to backtrack and rethink this. Like, you just kind of undone it.
We were right there.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it an 8.7.
There you go. We would see. So we were in the same page. You just kept up with it. You were just like, oh, the ending's
Yeah.
not so bad. To me, the ending, it just really ruined it for me. The movie's not bad, but it ruined majority of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just, final takeaway, like, I thought Bugonia is just another win for Yorgos and Emma Stone. I mean, it's silent, it's intense, it's darkly entertaining, and it's anchored by those fantastic performances. Even if it's a step below their very best collaborations, it's still one of the more engaging and distinctive films of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, what more can I say about Bugonia, man? Like, I really enjoyed Jesse Plemons in this. I hope that, honestly, he might be like that might be my favorite male performance. I still haven't seen One Battle After Another yet. Obviously, everybody's going on with the Leo stuff. Everybody is. Um, yeah, I'd love for Jesse Plemons to win Best Actor. I think that he was great. Emma Stone is obviously, she's like turning into Meryl Streep now. Like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, she's gonna get nominated. Yeah, sure. But I'm hoping that he gets nominated, and then his friend, I hope, gets a supporting actor nomination, because I thought that he was also fantastic. Other than that, the movie, it's something I would recommend, like you said, if you're a fan of this director, the storytelling, his collaboration with Emma Stone, the stuff that I've seen him and Emma Stone do. I think, obviously, as you can tell by the way I'm so upset about the ending, it's the weakest of the stuff that he's done with her, sorry, but it still has the same vibe of these movies that he's done in the past. So if you're a big fan of his and his collaboration with Emma Stone especially, I think it's one for you to see. But yeah, just be wary of the ending and let us know what you thought of it.
Yeah, feel free to, talk to us, relay your thoughts and tell us what you thought.
Don't tell me why I'm wrong. The internet loves to do that.
It's like holding up a sign, prove me wrong.
Exactly. But yeah, that just about does it for our review of Bugonia. You have anything else? Any final thoughts?
No, I am all good.
All right, everybody. Well, we will see you all in the next one. You guys take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.